Hey guys, this is AJ.
And this is Jurn.
And
Jurn Simmons, the one and only.
You're gonna just do that every week.
Often imitated, never duplicated.
We're two big, strong boys that pro wrestle and Twitch stream and love video games and all forms of entertainment. And this is our podcast.
All forms of entertainment.
Every single kind, whether it is video games, movies, cartoons, donkey shows, like everything.
Pornography.
I figured that was kind of covered under donkey show, but maybe not.
I think it's closer to movies.
Oh, maybe, yeah. I would consider us pornographical connoisseurs.
Yeah.
So yeah, this week, guys, I forgot to put up a poll again, because responsible adult over here.
Classic AJ.
Classic me. I wouldn't say I'm the most forget. You know what? Scratch that. I'm pretty forgetful.
Yeah, you're quite forgetful.
Yeah, I'm quite forgetful. So we're gonna have two choices. Well, it's not really choices. It's kind of just two ways this could go. We can either tell road stories, which you guys really seem to like before, or you guys can decide in the chat what you guys would like to hear about this week. So comment in the chat. Comment in the chat. Tell us what you'd like to see. You guys got a minute or so to do so, and while you guys are deciding amongst yourselves, you know, the millions and millions that are listening to this and or watching the screen right now, even though there's nothing visually happening besides, you know, a graphic. I'd like to point out that this week my channel is raising money for not only different Black Lives Matters movements and things associated with that, but also for Key Russells and his family, whose restaurant was vandalized a week ago now, and the insurance won't cover it, and that is their, you know, only mode of making a living, and currently that's taken away from them, and the insurance company isn't help. So I'm trying to do everything I can to raise money for them and help them get back on their feet, because they're wonderful, wonderful people. And even during what's up?
Do I know them?
You met Key when he came to do a stay. He was there with Layla.
I don't remember.
Okay, you did, but you might not remember.
Yeah.
I think he was only around for a handful of the actual shows, but he was in the apartment and stuff like that.
Oh, okay. Yeah, like I don't hang out at the apartment much, so I wouldn't know.
I don't think you hang out there at all now that I don't live there anymore.
Yeah, I don't know. I hung out before and after, like, but I don't know, man. Like, I don't know most of the people that come through at the apartment nowadays.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it kind of is what it is. And then, like, a lot of times as well, there's no like real reason to stay anymore. Usually we'll just have like one shots, right? Like just one show and everything, instead of having like 2 days and I'm fucking tired. So it's just like makes more sense to just hang out at the apartment and leave the next day or whatever.
Yeah.
You know?
Plus, like, the apartment isn't as like homely anymore either. So it's not like as much incentivized. It doesn't even have a couch, so that sucks. Or actually, I think Axel brought over his old couch now.
There's a fucking couch in the basement, dog.
Since when?
Since the start, I think.
No.
Like, I hung out like with Tyler over there.
Oh, I think that couch must be due. I think Axel had brought that over because when they first went in there, they didn't have a couch.
Oh,
I think Axel gave his old couch or the rotation. I'm sorry, I shouldn't use his fake name.
I remember hanging out with Tyler. There's some girl there like watching movies or whatever. I don't remember exactly.
What a contribution. I was hanging out with Tyler and there was some girl. She was watching movies.
Yeah.
It was rad. What's her name, Jurn? Don't know. What is she watching? No idea.
Yeah, that's about it. I literally don't know what her name is. So.
All right, fair enough. So we've had talk anime, and the other one was traveling, not just wrestling, but in general interesting. Like, did AJ experience some culture shocks coming to Germany? And to be fair,
did you, AJ?
I did. So, like, for those who don't know by now, I grew up a little farm boy. Not a big farm, but a little one out in the country. To get anywhere, I have to drive at least 10 minutes to go shopping for anything in particular. The only thing within walking distance is a little bar where they sell alcohol out of like little mason jars.
Nice.
Yeah, it's pretty sick actually.
You got
It's
some moonshine, brother.
Yeah, it's a nice aesthetic that they don't mean to have. It's just what they do. It's like
All right.
some bougie places, or not bougie, or but like what's the word? Hipster places will like have serve beer in like mason jars or whatever to be cool. But this place just like it's a container, ain't it?
Yeah, it's legit.
Yeah, it's legit. That's a real
Fuck
hipster.
around.
That's a real hipster when you're too legit.
Too legit to quit,
Oh
baby.
man, what a good movie.
What, a
But
hot rod?
yeah,
Yeah.
but so when I came to Germany, like so many things were different that I didn't realize. Like architecture is obviously older and different. Like even little things have a different feel to it. Like here in America, everything is very uniform as far as structure and buildings and stuff. And like, so this is gonna sound stupid, but as far as even like door handles, everything
Yeah.
is like precise, fits together, works real smooth. And not that it doesn't in Europe, but like I'd go into the WXW apartment and like the door handle and the way the lock works is kind of just slightly different than the States and has a different feel to it. And like some of the structures and stuff like that. And like obviously older, like I said, but like little things like that. And then something else that hit me is, oh, dear Lord, are the McDonald's 10 times better in Germany? Like,
Oh, all right. Really?
yeah, like they have like a separate cafe and the food's generally better and it's cleaner and like so stuff.
Yeah. See, like I don't have any like real vivid memories of McDonald's in America because it all just kind of blends together because you guys have so many fucking fast food places
Boy, howdy do it.
that that it just becomes a blur when I think about it. So yeah, I remember In and Out. Like In and Out's dope
I've
because In and Out has a super like easy menu and it's fucking clean as shit and all the food is really fresh. So that's why I remember In and Out.
I've never been in and out. There's none on the
And
east.
you call yourself American, dude?
There's none on the East Coast. That's actually a regional thing.
I know.
So I mean
You
that.
should have traveled.
Oh, I'm sorry. Like let me go use some of them frequent flyer points to go give me some in and out.
Yeah, just fucking hop into your fucking car, head to In and Out, baby.
So well, there's like Shake Shack, I think, in our area, which isn't like In and Out, but it's in like a bigger famous food places. Also, it's not lost on me that my ignorant American ass, when asked that question about culture shocks, one of the first things I mentioned was fast food.
Fast food.
I
yeah.
do realize how uncultured I sound. It's just some of the things that I saw immediately, right? Because it's the first thing I saw when I
Just
landed
fast
there.
food is good.
Yeah,
Dude.
but
It's fast. It's food. What more do you want?
also, when I first got to Germany, I should point out that I was stuck in the Dusseldorf airport McDonald's for 4 hours. So that was like the first experience. So give me a break.
How'd you get stuck there?
Okay. I'll tell this story, then I'll go back to my original point real quick.
Sure.
So when I arrived, everybody knew I was coming. WXW had set anything up, and this is one of the rare instances where they're like, okay, we'll have someone come and get you, like you're here representing CZW or whatever else might be. So Alex will come and pick you up or whatever it is. I was like, okay, cool. So I landed, and I was like, oh, maybe I'll just see someone with like a WXW shirt or something, and like, I'll know they're looking for me. So I get there and I look around for about 20, 30 minutes, and I find no one. So I got there at like 7 in the morning. So I messaged the contacts I have, which is Felix, Toss, and I think I messaged DJ so that he could get a hold of somebody.
Ah, the Deej.
Yeah. So I messaged all these people, and it takes like an hour, hour and a half before they get back to me because again, it's the morning. So they're like, sorry, we'll get a hold of Alex. Please contact this person. He should have the details. I don't know why this happened. Really sorry. And so I get a hold of Alex Buchholz, which, if you guys don't know, he runs the WXW office and secretly runs the company and is someone you never want to fuck with.
Yeah, all right.
She will ruin your life.
Sure.
Maybe not physically, but I mean, he runs the place. Trust me. So he messaged me. He's like, did they say like someone was supposed to come and get you? Because I haven't gotten any word about that at all. And I was like, yeah, he was like, did they send you any information about the trains? Because that's a typical thing if someone is coming to stay at the academy or the apartment. Like even in most cases, if they're there to wrestle, like I was there for like a little mini tour. They still are just kind of like, well, here's the instructions to take the train. We don't really have the ability at the time of the day to like drive the time to get you, and the train is really easy, which is fair enough. If you've ever taken public
Yeah, they don't
transportation,
really-
it's not hard.
They don't really have that much staff.
Yeah.
just on deck, just call on people and like tell them to pick them up. So it's
Yeah.
easier to just go by public transportation.
And it's not hard. It was difficult for me at first because, again, little farmer boy, drove everywhere, never took public transportation. But even I figured it out pretty quick. Like, you just got to be able to read. And if you can't read German, you just match the letters up. Like, it's not hard.
The name of the town is the fucking same. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It's not like you have to translate the name of the town. Like, the name of the town's the
Yeah.
name of the town. But
Yeah.
anyway, I was like, no, they didn't give me any train information. Like, I'm just kind of here. He's like, okay, let me figure this out. So Norman was staying at the academy for that week.
Okay.
And he had his car. He so happened to be staying there, and eventually he got a hold of Norman. He's like, "Hey, like this AJ dude is coming in for a stay, and they set up. They supposedly were gonna set up someone to come get him, but they didn't. Can you go grab him?" So Norman was like, "Yeah, yeah, sure." So Norman got there like an hour later. Was waiting there for about 4 hours at this point, and he was like, "I'm so sorry." Like this, I was like, "No, dude, like." I was so super nervous too. I had never really been out of the country by myself, so I was kind of like, "No, don't worry. I'm just happy to be
Oh,
picked
you
up."
baby.
Yeah, I used to have really bad like social anxieties about being in new places alone and stuff like that. Like like real bad. Now, like I'm just generally unaffected. Like I might get annoyed and not necessarily want to be around new people in a new environment, but I'm not like freaked the fuck out.
Yeah,
I'm just
I
like,
can't really relate. It's just people that annoy me. I don't like. I have no issue like going to like other places and shit, right? Like I
yeah,
remember like years ago, like I had to go to London for like a tryout, right?
yeah,
And then I was like, oh, somebody followed. That's cool.
yeah. I don't know. I turned off the volume for the alert box, so I don't know why it still happened.
Oh, well, I just saw it on screen. So, um, but the thing is, like, I remember going to London for a tryout,
Oh, and thank you for the
and
follow, by the
then
way.
yeah, you're welcome. But I remember going to London for a tryout, and then I remember like my mom was really worried. She's like, "Are you gonna be all right? This and that." I was just like, "Yeah, like you just follow signs."
Yeah, it's
you know so I just like I went like he flew over there and he just like when I flew over there I got my bag, all that stuff, and I was like, well, I gotta take the train and shit to the hotel and everything. So I just literally went to like the reception and went like, hey, how do I get here with public transportation? And they just went like, oh, you just take this and this. I was like, all right, cool, no problem. So that's what I did, and then I got there. But I can remember like talking to my mom later about it, and she was like, yeah, like the entire family was worried sick, all by yourself in a foreign country. I was like, what's the big fucking deal? Like, it's just following signs. Like my English is really good,
yeah.
so that shouldn't really be an issue. Yeah.
My family is kind of the same way because again, on my both sides of my family actually, they've never really left the country. They've barely left the East Coast. I think my sister was one of the few to like get into the military and actually travel around a little bit. So besides my sister, I think I'm one of the only ones to ever like leave the country. Um, so they're all like, "Oh, you got to be careful, Texas, when you get to every spot to be safe." And even now, 4 years in, I've been to I don't know a dozen and a half, 15, 16 countries. I travel internationally like all the time. Like it's not like a
Yeah.
big deal. And even when I first did it, I was like, "You just follow signs. Like it's pretty hard to get lost if you can read."
Yeah.
And like my ex girlfriend's mom was like, "Oh, I'd never be able to travel like by myself. That's so nerve wracking." And like my ex girlfriend at the time once had to fly from like Aruba, where we went on vacation, to back to Baltimore by herself, just one flight, and she was super nervous for it. And I was like, "What are you being nervous
Yeah.
for? You just go to your gate, get on. It's not like you have to make connections, get a bus. Like what I do is way harder." And she's like, "I don't know how you could do that." I was like, "You read."
Yeah, yeah.
Like,
That's the thing. I've had these like this quote unquote discussions with like other wrestlers as well who show up like really late to a show because they couldn't figure out like where to go. I was like, it really like it isn't that hard. You just follow signs. Like
yeah.
you just read. Yeah, like I got on the wrong bus to the wrong town, this and that. I was like, what? Like
Every once in a while, there's an excuse
insane.
though, because like at least in Germany, sometimes the same bus, if at a different time, might take you like a longer route or might take a slightly different route, and like I think it's like three different buses show up to the same bus stop in
Yeah.
Germany in certain areas. So sometimes I get that, but again, if you just double check and read and use Google
Yeah, that's
Maps, like
yeah.
It's I don't know.
It's incredible. I don't know.
But yeah,
Like
my anxieties were never traveling. It was being around new people and not like feeling like I was in control of like what I
I
was
remember you
doing.
were really nervous meeting me.
I wasn't nervous. I just thought you were speaking German. Turns out it was Dutch.
Yeah,
And
me and Johnny Evers, baby.
like,
Fucking tearing it up.
I've I had, even when I started with WXW, I'd been in the wrestling for I said in the wrestling. I had been in the wrestling for I don't know what voice that was, but I had been wrestling for like several years, like 7, 8 or whatever at that point.
Yeah.
And so but like I
About as long as I've been going now, I guess.
maybe slightly longer, just slightly though. I keep
Sure.
forgetting that like when I met you, you're like, yeah, I'm 4 years in, and now like that's 4 years later, so now it's like 8. So every time you tell me like, yeah, I've been wrestling for like 8 years or 6 or 7 at this point, I'm always like, that number keeps going up and up, you fucking liar, because I still just keep thinking it's like 4 or 5.
Yeah, it's because there's actual like passage of time
Yeah,
anyway. We're not like
it blows my mind,
this isn't fucking Prince of Persia,
dude.
dude. All right,
I don't
time
understand.
doesn't stand still.
I don't understand time.
Honestly, I guess time is too abstract of a concept for you to fucking wrap your head
I
around.
just don't got time for that nonsense. It's fake news.
Oh yeah, fair enough.
But to be fair, though, the first couple weeks that I met you, the number kept going up by half of a year every single time. So eventually I was just like, dude, what the fuck is it? So then when it was truthful every subsequent year, I was like, is it though? Like, I just don't.
Dude, it was funny as fuck. I remember once, like, when I was in England last year in July, right?
Mhm.
I don't remember who I was necessarily talking to, but at one point, like, it came about like how long I'd been wrestling. I was like, yeah, I've been wrestling for like, I guess at that point it was like 7 years. So it's like, yeah, 7 years, and like, I think it had to do with age as well. So like, I'm 27, and like I was staying with Rufio like when I was there,
Mhm.
and he heard that he's like, wait, what the fuck? I was like, what? So he just went like, I thought you were like mid 30s, bro, and you had like 10+ years of experience. I was like, no, dude. But I don't know, man. I guess I have that effect on people. I don't know what it is.
It's weird too because I remember when we first met and we actually became close, which didn't take very long. I would call you Green or something like that, which was kind of true at the time, but at the same time, still super talented. Like you just it came to you super naturally. But now, like
Yeah,
I'll think of making the joke, and then I'm like, that's so out the window. Like I can't. Like that's not the case. Like time has passed.
yeah. It's I don't know. It's funny though. Like I think I remember like Rufio told me like because when me and Rufio met was like at German Comic Con
Hmm.
for WXW, right? And I was hanging out and just like I don't know, like kind of shooting the shit and everything with Istria, who's been wrestling for forever, right?
Yeah.
And Rufio later told me like, yeah, Istria is like very much about like seniority and that sort of thing, So that's probably why Rufio was like, oh yeah, Jurn's like veteran guy because Israel really likes him. And I was like, no, no, dude. And then like he and I like theorized that maybe it's because like he's Israel, like the first impression he got of me was like me and Tim just being buddies. So he was like, oh, all right, he's got to be cool,
That's fair. Like if you've got like Tim's unofficial seal of approval, or at least he sees Tim, someone sees Tim smile around you. It's kind of like, oh, he can't be that bad.
Yeah, exactly.
Although I think if you went up and asked him, he would say the opposite. But that's not what's important here.
And that's not true at all.
Uh, I think it's true. It's just not necessarily true coming from him.
Me and Tim are tight as fuck. It's so fucking tight, dude.
Oh god. But oh wait.
But yeah.
So yeah. So like I was saying, the traveling anxieties all just like came from like just being in out of comfort zone, not having control of the situation. Seemingly now I don't have that at all. It's just if I'm in a new place surrounded by people I don't know, it's just kind of like, I just kind of would be by myself then, or get to know somebody, have a buddy, and then I'll be good. Or just be left alone, which is fine. Not to be a dick or anything like that. It's just again new environment for me, so I kind of want to ease into it. But like again, even that isn't really much the case anymore. But
Yeah, sure.
so like, but Yeah, so Germany was a bit of a
I,
culture shock that first weekend, but then like again after that first weekend and getting to know everybody and having those matches with Bad Bones and like you, Mac, Junior, all being like, "Yo, you're kind of part of the crew. Like we really like you and you fit in well here." I was kind of like, "Let's fucking go."
I remember I was really annoyed with you on the first trip
Which
because
which is
I was driving the nine
which
seater.
isn't fair. I'll point out.
No, it was totally fair.
Yeah, tell your story and
But
then I'll tell why it's
I
not
was
fair.
I was driving the nine seater, and then
Which looking back, by the way, let's point out how odd it is that they put you in charge of the nine seater at that time.
yeah, I guess the thing is like
It was fate.
I had a reputation.
We were meant to be
AJ.
together.
I had a reputation back in that time of being a beast on the road. These are literal words from Walter.
I remember you
Cause like
telling me that.
I got put in the nine seater and like trucks like all the time, and I went to like the Tassilo like because he does the logistic parts of it. I was like, Taz, what the fuck? Why do you keep making me drive? I hate driving. You know? He's like, oh, Walter told me you're a beast on the road. So that's how that got set up. But yeah, so I was driving the nine seater, and this is like AJ's first like weekend with us and all of that kind of stuff.
I had arrived the day before, like
Yeah,
late
sure.
in the evening.
And
Or no, morning.
so who else was in the nine seater?
Me, you, Johnny Evers.
Somebody from crew. I think like Marius from Beethoven was in there. I want to
Yeah,
say.
yeah, Marius was.
Was Hakeem in there?
Yeah, because he was in the apartment when I got in there.
Yeah.
Hakim Hokur.
So that was pretty much it, I guess. But then I guess Marius and Hakeem went in the back,
Yeah.
right? And then you and crew member went in the middle, and then me and Johnny in front. And then you just like put from the first fucking minute, put your fucking earbuds in your ears.
See, that's not true. It
and
definitely
just,
wasn't the
like,
first minute.
and just like shut yourself off
Not-
for the entire trip.
Not true.
Didn't say a word for the entire trip. So I was like, what the fuck's going on with this guy? And then we arrive at the venue, and then me and Johnny are just kind of shooting the shit. All of a sudden, like, you start talking, and then, like, we just have friendly conversation. I was like, oh, okay, I guess he's all right. But I was just like, where the fuck was this the entire trip?
So, my side of the story.
Yeah.
I get into the car. I leave my headphones out for a little bit. The other three, as we already discussed, shut themselves off, fall asleep, whatever.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, let's see who makes the first word or whatever. You and Johnny start talking to one another, get very rowdy very quick. Doesn't seem like a conversation I can get involved in because I don't know you guys that well, and it seems very chummy. Not to mention speaking Dutch. So I was like,
me and Johnny are very chummy.
yeah, absolutely.
We're super annoying to like everybody around us.
Hey, dude, I get it. And now, like, I'm chummy with Johnny, so I understand. So,
He's the best.
yeah, he's awesome. But now I get it. And I was kind of like, oh, I don't think I can get involved. And then you were kind of separated. And, like, I knew of you beforehand because I knew you were the champ. So I'd asked Star about you. I was like, is he a cool dude? What's he like? And Star was like, he's a total goof. You're going to get along so well with Jurn. Little did I know he would become one of my best friends.
Yeah.
And so I was kind of like, okay, let's see. And then you guys started speaking Dutch and giggling. So I was like, I guess he is a cool dude, but I don't know what the fuck he's saying. And then I see you shoot Russell Axel Dieter Jr., and I see you goof around, and then we start chatting a bit, and then I'm like, oh, okay, like, this is my dude. And then, like, by the end of the weekend, I was like, I felt, like, completely accepted, not only by you, but by, like, everybody else. So I was kind of like, this is what's up.
Yeah. Yeah, but it was really annoying for me that first trip.
Unjustly.
Like-
Unjustly. And you were
I mean,
fine.
this
I was the
guy-
one that had to listen to my
this guy-
podcast for 3 fucking hours while you had Johnny and each other fucking yapping it up.
Yeah. But I was just like, this guy, first trip here, he's not gonna say anything, huh? First trip here?
First,
First trip here, he's not gonna say anything?
he's a fucking superstar. Because he works for the CZ Dub. He's fucking a big dick player.
What you listen to? Your fucking wrestling podcast? You nerd?
100% was. 100% was. But yeah, and
yeah.
like that. Actually, that weekend, as cheesy as it sound, one of the most important weekends of my entire life.
All right.
because that was the first time in my whole career that my way of wrestling was actually affirmed. Like, no, you're doing it the right way. We appreciate it. Like, can we have you back? Meanwhile, when I was at CZW and everywhere else, they're like, oh, you're like boring, or you don't do enough, or like, yeah, we could use you for this, but you couldn't be the guy, or some nonsense by people who just like were awarded the wrong things and don't get long-term wrestling or storytelling, whatever. Meanwhile, Walter's like, hey, so like this is the first time we've had someone over from America and we didn't have to, and specifically he mentioned a specific company, but hey, this is the first time we had somebody over from such and such, and like we didn't have to tell you to not do a bunch of stuff. You just knew better to not do it. And I was like, oh. And he's like, yeah, thanks for
I,
that.
I honestly had similar situations. Or like I first like had like some tryout match at a dojo show for WXW, right? Me and Johnny Evers once again,
Yeah, baby,
best
and
bud.
you stuck out that tongue.
Yeah, yeah. That's an entire story in itself.
Mm-hmm.
But I remember like it was the same thing. I kept running into it like in like Pro Wrestling Holland of not doing enough stuff, right? Like they were like, "You're fucking lazy," this and that. I was like, and my whole thing was like, "I'm lazy." Like you guys all look like shit. You know, like I go to the gym every fucking day. Who the fuck's lazy
It's
here?
great
You know?
you fling that fucking skinny fat body across the ring. Too bad like I work smart and I fucking work out outside of here. I'm real
Yeah.
lazy when I put in the work 7 days a week and you put it
But
up for
but
like at 15 minutes in the match.
but yeah, but that was like me and Dragan were like on the road together a bunch back then, and he and I were just getting so fucking annoyed, you know, because like not to fucking toot our own horn too much, but it was just like for to some degree like you're aware, you know what I mean, and we
Yeah.
could hear, so we were like, all right, we're getting by like milking shit and actually like working for stuff, we're getting way better reactions than anybody else on these shitty Belgian and shitty Dutch shows. But yet we're the ones that are being called lazy and all that stuff. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
so like I remember being really fed up, and then I did like the dojo match with Toby Blunt, and then like afterwards, like Jacoby like took me aside. He was like, "Hey, who trained you?" I was just like, "Oh, like Tanqua and Angel Fire, I guess." And he was just like, "Oh, you don't wrestle like them at all." I was like, "Yeah, I don't look like them either." You know? And he was like, "No, it's good. I like it." I
I
was
love
like, "All
how
right, cool,
blunt you are
thanks."
from the very start with just like every single person you meet.
Yeah. And then I remember like one of my I had like a match with Bad Bones. That was my first match for WXW.
Same.
And like everybody was like pretty like stoked about that, even though I dropped him. 'Cause I didn't drop him. I just didn't catch him for his dive
I
because I
dro-
didn't know how.
I dropped him.
But but then later, like I think it was my second weekend. It was like they were already like putting me with Keel for like Keel holding and stuff, right? And so it was me and Sasha Keel against like Walter and Battle. And I remember like me and Walter like got along like immediately because we just started talking about Smoky Mountain.
Fuck yes.
And I was like, yeah, it's fucking like it's sick, right? And then and then we did the match and everything. And afterwards, like granted, like I was like a year in at this point, like very new, right? And then like I knew Walter, right?
Yeah.
It was also a thing of
And to
like
clarify, by the next weekend, you were already 2 years in, correct?
yeah, exactly. But I knew Walter, so I was just like, oh yeah, I also know like he's kind of a big shot around here. So like I'll wait like behind the curtain and I'll ask him for feedback and all that stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So so it was basically like I was just like standing there like with Keel. I was just I went to Walter's like, hey man, like you all right? Everything fine for you out there? And he was like, oh yeah, you were perfect. And then he went over to Sasha. I was all right, this. Like, started rattling off the stuff. And I was like, oh, all right. You know. But yeah, like so for me that was kind of similar stuff because I remember like initially like when I had done the trial with WXW and then like I was getting offered bookings and everything. I remember like initially thinking like I don't know like if I'm gonna really fit in here. You know what I mean? Because I'd like looked it up on YouTube and then I saw like one match was like a triple threat or a fatal four way. I was just like spots all over the place and everything. I was just like, because that was pretty much my only impression of them. I was just like, I don't fucking know, man. But it ended up working out all right. So yeah.
Yeah. That story of like Walter not having anything for you reminds me. I told this to Kelly the other day because she listened to it like a podcast about Ricky the Dragon Steamboat, who's fucking awesome.
Sure.
And he was actually, I actually get to work with him a little bit because he was doing a show in West Virginia that I did, and like he was like the ref, and me and my buddy Logan like went to pull him out, and then he gave us the karate chop combo and worked us back down the aisleway, which was really fucking cool. But earlier in the evening. And like you might not believe this because people will very rarely see me work as a goodie, and he was worked as a goodie his entire career. But I'm a huge Steamboat fan.
Sure.
Him versus Bret Hart in '96 in the Boston Garden in a house show is one of my favorite matches of all time.
I don't think I even know that one.
It's like apparently super popular with like tape traders and stuff. Like I'll send you where to look for it. It's really good because the story behind it, real quick.
I'm not into that tape trading
bullshit. But the story behind it is supposedly before Bret got paired up with Jim the Anvil Neidhart, he was going to face Steamboat at like I think WrestleMania 2 or something like that.
Okay.
So they had him do the loop to get practice and acquainted with each other. So they had this match, which is a baller, but then directions changed.
Yeah.
But anyway, so early in the evening, he watched my match, and I had like it was a real solid, good opening match. A couple little things could have gone better, but it was really good. It really set the tone for the rest of the show real well. And like I'm one of the more experienced guys probably now on that show, so like it was a good way to start. Me and the dude work. I have fun with it, and I go over. I'm like, hey, Mr. Steamboat, like. Because I don't know what the fuck to call him. Hey, Rick. Hey, Richard Blood, which is his real name.
Hey, Dick Blood.
Hey, Dick Blood. I was like, I saw you over here watching the matches. Like, and he's one of the few people that's come into this company that was a big name that actually sat down and watched everything. Everybody else had like changed someplace separate, only did their like guest appearance, and then just kind of got out of there. He sat down and watched everything.
All right.
So I go over to talk to him, like, hey, sir, do you have any, like, tips or tricks or whatever? He's like, well, I was never really a heel, so, like, it might be a little bit harder for me. But he gave some little tips and stuff like that and kind of some feelings and where to go with stuff. And then, like, he looks at me, he's scratching his head, and he's like, to be honest, like, most of these critiques I'm giving you, and I have, are really for the other guy. Where the hell is he? Like, and I was like, oh, Jesus. And then, like, he pulls over the other guy, and then there's, like, a bunch of stuff. And, like, some of it on my end as well. But, like, it was just super funny to me because he's just like, you're the one carrying it. So, but it was, like, cool how, like, cool and, like, informative Steamboat was. And, like, just such a, like, cool dude. Meanwhile, like, Shane Douglas was there for that same show. And me and him were in a faction together for this company. Yet every time he showed up to the building, for which it was like 3 or 4 times, pretty sure he always forgot me and my tag partner Logan and who we were.
Fuck yeah. That's gonna be me in like 3 years.
Oh, so that at that point you're 30 years in?
Yeah. It's like, listen up, you little fucker.
Yeah.
I never seen you around here. It's like, Jurn, we see each other every week. Like,
we've been friends for 20 years. I don't know your fucking name.
Yeah. God, can't wait until I'm like properly grizzled and just a piece of shit.
So if you're
That's
not
what I'm waiting for,
so properly grizzled, what kind of grizzled are you now?
just a smidge.
Just a smidge?
You know? Just a little baby grizzle.
Baby Grizzle?
Yeah.
It's your rapper name, Baby Grizzle.
Little grizzle.
Little Grizzle. Little Grizz.
Yeah. Also, yeah, the tongue story.
Oh yeah.
So during my like tryout match for WXW during that dojo show, at one point I put on a chin lock and I stuck my tongue out. Just like that's just all I really did. I remember like when I was calling the match with Toby, we had called quick, and Toby was like, really? Is this really like all you want to do? Like this is your tryout match. You kind of got to make an impression, right? I was just like, it's fine.
Also, real quick before you go, to anyone out here who's aspiring to be a wrestler, here's a little tip that I was told by people at WWE and people at WXW, people all over the world. Tryout matches are not to get your shit in. It's to show that you know what you're doing as far as professional wrestling and storytelling to beginning. So if you go out there and do the basics and do them perfectly to a T and really well and get people involved and show some charisma, you'll get way more opportunities than going out there and half-ass doing a bunch of flips and dives and hurting yourself and just looking like an idiot.
Yeah. So the one thing I did like put in was the standing moonsault, but I put it in like for me to miss it and also just to be like, hey, this is like something I can do. Yeah. Which is like Jacoby later also commented on that, like that's exactly like how he saw it. I was like, oh yeah, he's doing that to show us he can do it. You know, I
Mhm.
was just like, yeah, that's pretty much it. But anyway, I put on the chin lock and I stuck my tongue out, went blah, you know, and then
How did you go?
what?
How did you do it again? Okay.
Blah.
I just want to confirm.
Apparently, like rumor has it, the story goes that at that moment in the match, Kobe turned to Dennis and just said, "That's our next world champion right there." And then, like year and a half later, that's exactly what the case was.
Hell yeah.
So yeah, just that's how you gotta do it, boys and
Dude, you
girls.
gotta show a little tongue.
You gotta show a little tongue.
Absolutely. Man.
God, and then like, oh yeah, I remember like I just made like the chin lock. That became like the big thing, right? At one point, because at what they put me with keel holding, and I did nothing but lose for like a year, which is fine. You know, I don't really give a shit about winning or losing. Um, but then they were like, "Yeah, we got to build you up, you know, because we don't want to do more shit with you." I was like, "Good, I want to do more shit too."
Good, give me the
Uh,
ball. Shoot the J.
yeah, shoot it.
Shoot it. Computer
Uh,
blue.
Darren Pinky. But the thing was like, yeah, we want you to have like a power move kind of thing as a finish. So I came up with these ideas, and I was like, oh yeah, absolute Andy, literally all of those moves. So I was like, all right, well, fuck me.
You should have told
And
him, listen, Daddy, when I put in that chin lock and I show the tongue, that's my fucking power move.
no, because what happened then was me and Tassilo like kind of going back and forth, and I was just like, yeah, like, I mean, like I got the kick, like everybody keeps telling me it's a believable finish. Now fucking McIntyre uses it as a finish, so I guess it is. But I was just like, we could do like a gimmick where like I do the kick, it knocks them out, and I put them like in the chin lock when they're knocked out, and the arm goes down three times. And he was like, yeah, that's fucking cool. So we did that for like 3 shows. And then they were like, all right, we got to do something different. I was just like, what? You haven't given it a chance to get over. You know what I mean? But like, even though we only did for 3 shows, fucking Dennis made me an entrance video that had Chinlock City in it. And I was just like, you motherfucker. You fucking asshole.
Chinlock
So
City.
yeah. I was like, I think sometimes when I did my entrance, I just looked at it and I just shook my head. I was like, God. So yeah.
So obviously, like they're super close together. But going back to the whole traveling and culture shocks stuff like that, did you have any culture shocks or anything odd, like starting to travel more and more, like when you would go from like the Netherlands to Germany or Belgium or wherever else, or is everything kind of just the same to you?
Not really. I traveled a bunch as a kid, so I got used to that stuff real quick. Yeah, I mean, like I went we did like winter sport for vacations and stuff a bunch, mainly like in Austria and everything. And Austria is not that much different from Germany. So to me it wasn't that different. And Belgium is like well known in the Netherlands anyway, so there's no like real culture shock there. I'd been to France before, like England wasn't really a culture shock either because I'd been there before with like school and shit. So
Okay.
no, I haven't really had any culture shocks. I remember like one thing that like this isn't culture shock or anything, but I remember one time like I was riding with Keel and we left like pretty early. I was like, God damn, why are we so early? And he was like, I just want to check out like the cities and like see how it is, you know, because I guess he was just like a big fan of like architecture and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
So we were in Eastern Germany, so it's all these fucking disheveled buildings and all that kind of shit. And like he's just driving around, he's just ranting the entire time. Where he's just going like, look at this piece of shit building. God damn, can you believe this? And it's just like with every building. I was worth it to get up real early, you know. But it was fun. Yeah.
See, here in America, we don't have any buildings that are older than 200 years old. So, like, don't really have that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, I
Fair
think my
enough.
country in total is like 228 years old or something like that, around that, give or take 3 years.
What one thing that like I guess could be kind of culture shock-ish was like last year when I went to America for like WrestleMania weekend, right?
Yeah, it was a good weekend.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Fuck that then. Oh, sorry.
Dude, you should know. Like, I hated New York.
Oh, I didn't.
Hate it.
I didn't like being in New York specifically, but the weekend itself was very fulfilling.
I guess. I don't know.
All right, fine. Fuck me.
Um,
Anyway, tell your story.
anyway, I landed, right? And then I went like sorted shit out with like a bus that would take me to my hotel, this and that. And as the guy that was taking he wanted to take care of my luggage, I was like, no, dude, it's fine. Like, I'll just grab my luggage. But he wanted to do it, you know. The guy was driving the bus. So, and he like walks over this crosswalk and bumps into this guy. And then like in a split second, the other guy goes, "Hey, watch where the fuck you're going, you fucking asshole!" Like, top of his lungs. I was like, "Yeah, this is America," you know.
Yeah.
So,
I once, when I had toured for a couple times already, so probably like this is probably my second year with the company.
yeah,
Nero, when he was still with us, just to clarify, not dead, just
Julio.
still with the company.
Yeah.
When him and Avalanche were still a team, Julian was like, or Nero was like, "You and Tim are not very American," and I was like, "What? What do you mean by that?" And he's like most Americans come over and they're very like try to be in charge of the match and act like they know it all. Like, you and Tim are real smart and everything, but like you guys aren't like pushy and you don't walk around with your chests out like you know it all. You guys are just like real cool,
No,
down to earth
you work.
guys.
Yeah, you work with the other guys.
Yeah, I was like, yeah, like isn't that how it should everybody should be? But I think like some of the what happens is the Americans come over and they're like, well, they brought me over, so I'm obviously like a big deal. So then they maybe get in their head that
Well,
maybe they're bigger deals than other guys. And yeah, you're obviously special if you got brought over from across the world, but like doesn't necessarily mean you know better than most. Like, it's still not an
well,
excuse to be an asshole.
yes and no. Honestly, I think it's a lot is has to do with like most of the German European guys being too polite as well.
Oh, that could definitely be it.
Because that's the thing. Like, I've worked with like Star a bunch, right? Like, that there were
Yeah,
like
same.
multiple weekends in a row where he and I would just like work every show. The thing is, like, I work together with him great, and like I have some of my best matches with him. But the thing is, like, Star is definitely like he gets super excited and he wants to like put everything in here and there and blah 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 and like all these different ideas. He just needs somebody to go. I think he's like way like smarter about it now. Like, he's
Oh,
definitely cooled down a
100
lot.
100%.
But back then, especially, like, he was really pushing for it. I was just like, hey man, we don't really need this. You know, like, I was just saying no to these ideas that I didn't agree with, and he, you know, he's a cool dude, so he was just like, yeah, no problem, you know, and like, we'll just do this and this. So I like I had a great time working with him. Sometimes it would be like frustrating, you know,
Yeah.
because it's just like you're just denying the guy the entire time.
I think that could be
But
that point could definitely be made because like with Star, that's the thing. Like back in, and again, he's 10 times better now, but like he's very insistent. He gets very passionate. And he's a very smart dude. So like the other guys
yeah,
just be
but
like, oh, I'll let him do his thing. But then there's guys like me, you, Walter, that would be like, no, we're not going to do that. And and David would
yeah,
honestly just be like, oh yeah, cool, okay, I understand.
yeah, he has no problem with it.
Yeah.
But that's the thing, like, what people don't realize, and I think like that Dave did realize. It's a two-way street, you know. Like,
Hmm.
it takes two to tango. Like, you got to work together, and I think like you know, in America, it's so much more of a thing to just like get your shit in, and then get out of there. You know what I mean? Because
100,
that's like
150%, 160%,
yeah, because
175%, 1000% correct.
that's what I know is WrestleMania weekend as well. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. It's not the way I want to go about things, but that's how it's set up over there, you know. So so a lot of Americans that come over try to go like that. You know, it's the same thing like I had with Riddle, for example. Like he had a bunch of stuff as well. He was just like, oh yeah, what if we do this and this? And I was like, I don't think we need it, man. And he was just like, all right, cool, then we don't do it. Yeah,
Yeah.
you know,
Riddle's cool as shit.
Real's cool as fuck. You know, but it's the thing. Like I think it's a lot with like the Germans and the Europeans, the way they're like used to calling matches. Like, oh, how do you feel about this? You know what I mean? Like, whereas like it's as a proposal, instead of like, oh yeah, we can do this.
Yeah.
You know, where it's just like, okay, this is an idea, boom. You know, like that kind of thing. Like, there's a different way to go about it, and like for them, it's kind of overwhelming, and they don't want to talk back because they don't want to be, they don't want to be seen as rude.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So yeah, I think that's a lot of it. What it was, because I've had like you said, like Walter would fire back against Star, but like I've had those same conversations with like Andy. You know what I mean? Like Andy's just also goes, yeah, just tell him no.
Yeah.
You know, and then like, yeah, you have a match that's fine. So yeah.
Yeah. No, I definitely see that now. Like, and I think maybe that's a culture shock for me as well. Not a culture shock, but like I used to go about making matches one way before WXW, and now with WXW, like still back home, in most matches, I find myself that just the matches I happen to get paired into, I'm either at the same experience level or a higher experience level than a lot of guys end up working with. So I kind of take control of the match, but I always am like, how do you feel about this? Are you happy with everything? Is there anything you'd like to get in? Is there anything else that we can
Yeah.
do? Like, granted, like, again, you obviously know the way I wrestle. Like, the whole got to get your stuff in shit is bullshit. And that's why guys who are big on independence and sometimes go other places, like, they blow their load too quick. People get tired of them. Like, it's not the smart way to work. You gotta be smarter with how you work if you want to be long-term successful and keep your body right and, like, give the audience a better show, to be honest, because, like, they'll get tired of stuff, and like they like way more people remember, you know, Rock and Hogan staring down than they do people doing like a million spots or whatever and being like, oh, that match is awesome, match of the night, but then they forget about it 2 weeks later. So like there's a whole tangent I can go on or whatever. But like now I don't even remember my original point, but yeah, now I'm way more like, okay, like, you know, how can we accommodate this for you, but calm it down to where it's still smart and better for you and just do the job that's needed of us. And like, yeah.
I I usually I've had a couple of times where guys that are like, I don't know, like newer than me or whatever, I guess. They're usually like surprised like when they work with me with like how giving I am. Because I like the way I started calling with like guys like that is just like, yeah, what do you want to do? You know what I mean? Like that's how we usually start calling anyway. Because it's just like, all right, I want to see like where their heads at and like what they want to do and all that stuff. Like, and then because that was the thing as well. Like I remember I had a match with Benjamin Van Ness, Dreamy Daddy.
Oh, he's here in the chat as well. That dreamy son of a bitch.
Ooh, yeah, there he is.
Oh, talk about that cocoa juice on milk.
Cocoa. All right. But I remember like he and I had a match and it was the same thing where I was just like, hey man, like if you got ideas like this and that, and then like I just kind of took his ideas and like put it all together in a way that like it kind of made sense, like to me. And then we just had like a really fun match. And I remember afterwards, because like I try to make him like look good and shit as well, because that was kind of, you know, what else would be the point of that match if I just beat him? Like there's nothing to gain really.
Where was this?
So this is in Pro Wrestling Holland.
Okay.
But like, I remember afterwards, like he was really happy about it, and then he was just like, yeah, I just like I've never had the feeling before of just like being carried like that. I was just like, wait, like haven't you Dante and like guys like that?
Oh, tell that again because you cut out.
Oh, he's just. I was just like, haven't you had like a bunch of matches with like Dante and like more like, you know, experienced Dutch guys and stuff like that? And he was like, yeah, I have. I was like, oh, all right.
Oh wow.
But yeah, I thought that was fun. But like, for example, like I talked to like Mackett sometimes brings it up to me as well. Where like he and I like worked for like that Academy show.
Yeah, booked
right,
that
once.
It was awesome.
Yeah, yeah, that was actually a super fun match too.
Yeah.
But it was the same thing. Like he he brings it up to me. So I was like, yeah, it's just weird. Like you're way too relaxed, like calling that.
Dude,
you know, he's like, hey, like
that,
what you want to do, like like this, you know.
That's why I love working with you.
Yeah.
One, because it also pops me, not to blow our own horn, but it's our podcast, so I'll fucking jerk ourselves off as much as I want. But like, me and Jurn have worked a bunch of times. He's probably no, he is my favorite person to work with.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. And we've know each other's stuff. We could call each other's stuff for us. We've worked as a tag. We've worked against each other. We've worked against each other in tags. We've had gimmick matches. We've had non-gimmick matches. We've had start the show matches. We've had main event matches, and you go about those differently, believe it or not. And
Yeah.
we've done every job that we need to do for one another or whatever. And like, so now, like, whenever we have a match, like, I'll have people coming up be like, "Have you and Jurn even talked? Have you guys discussed anything?" And I'll be like, "No." And then like we'll have a 5 minute conversation of which 4 minutes of it is bullshitting, and then like we can walk away the entire rest of the day, and it's the most relaxing feeling because it's like I know, and if like I do forget something, I'll look and see how he moves, and I know exactly what he's going for. So there we go.
Yeah.
Like it's just like wrestling's a language even without speaking. Like people used to ask like Regal, like, how do you go over there and translate your style to Japanese when you can't communicate? And he's like, if you feel the tug and the pull and you know what movement means what, and you can look at them and see, okay, they're doing this, so then before I have to be there for this, like wrestling's a language like anything else. It's just not verbal. And like
Yeah.
also with working people more and more, you get to really understand their language or whatever. And like so like me and you have that. And now like whenever I'm paired up with you, I'm like, yeah.
Yeah, like I remember that like Pro Wrestling Holland, was it like late last year or something?
Yeah. Or
Where you and
early
I
this year maybe. No, wait.
No, it was late last year.
Oh
Because
yeah.
Tyler was still around.
Oh yeah, that's right.
So but that was the same thing. It was like we were just bullshitting around the entire time. And then like in 5 minutes we called the match. And then like we just did it.
Yeah, and I think we like now we're to the point where we also kind of call part of the matches by towns too. We're like, oh, do you want to do that Bielefeld thing? Oh yeah, sure.
Yeah. Yeah. But I remember like I have the same things with like Andy, right?
Oh, say that again.
Well,
Lost you.
oh yeah, sorry. I have the same things with like Andy and Walter.
Oh
Well,
yeah.
like me and Andy have like worked so much. Like you know this.
Yeah.
You can just call a match like super quick.
You want to do the
And
Floghaven? Yeah, sure.
yeah.
You wanna follow it up with the whip to do spot? Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great. I know what
And
the fuck
it's
that
the thing as
is.
well, like same with Walter, like he and I have worked like so much that we barely need to call anything. Like that was the thing as well. Like I remember like Walter would be like agent and like booker for shows, right? That like so he would be busy the entire time like agenting other people's matches. So then like for the main, he would just put me and him. So he would be like, "Yeah, I can call that in like 5 minutes, and then we're good to go."
Yeah.
You know, and then like it's just, but it's the same thing as well. Like, for example, like what you said about like, yeah, if I forget something, just see like where he goes, and you can tell. Even like if I forget something, like with like you, Andy, Walter, you know, guys like that. Even if something's forgotten, whatever, you know, you just keep going.
Yeah, I don't give
Like,
it. I couldn't give a shit.
yeah, like, cause like that's one of the things I always think is super cute about Andy.
Hmm.
Like right before you go out, he always goes like, "Oh yeah, sorry if I forget anything."
Yeah.
I would just like, dude, like, because he gets excited when calling as well, right? It's like, dude, you came up with like all the ideas for this fucking match, and
Yeah.
you called it 100 times. If you forget anything, I ain't even gonna be mad, dude.
Yeah.
Because that means I probably forgot as well. So
I've very rarely forgotten stuff, but like I think there was once I forgot something. Like no, once or twice I forgot something with you, and you would just sarcastically in my ear be like, "You forgot about that, didn't you?" And I would just be like, "Yeah,
yeah, I don't know. I don't really give a shit. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Like I give a shit when somebody like knocks me in the head.
oh
You know,
yeah."
like unsafely
I
or
once
whatever. Like,
caught
that's
you.
when I get heated.
I remember
But
I do
like,
the back and forth forearms, and like you tucked your chin for the left, and I caught you with it, and I just hear you go, "Ooh," and I'm like, oh. And like to let me know, like, oh, that caught me, but also like you could have made a joke of it. I almost bursted out laughing because you just hear, "Ooh."
there's been so much shit. Like for example, like me and Andy, because we worked so much, we would just fuck around with calling. And one time, I remember, oh my god, this is like one of my favorite stories. I might have actually told it on a podcast before. Well, one time we had this match, and we were like, we had a double down, and like as we were calling it, like I remember going to Andy, be like, I want to do a double down. right after the double down, and like Andy's eyes went so wide, and he was like, "I do." So we did superplex all the way till 9. Got up, back and forth like punches, duck, duck, double clothesline all the way to 9, and then like as we're down after the double clothesline, Shooter, who's the ref, just comes up to us and he goes like, "Are you guys fucking kidding me?" The thing is, like, I'm pretty sure like nobody in the crowd could tell, but the three of us were just fucking dead, dude. Like,
Also, that just reminds me how great our refs are.
yeah.
Toss, Felix, Marcus, Reiner are all fucking amazing. Like my match with what was it? Mil Muertes? Like it was great. It was a lot of fun. He's super cool dude, very giving. But like the entire hella jacked. The entire match we're putting it together and we're talking about how to protect his character. And then he just comes out as, like, no offense to him, generic babyface luchador, clapping to the audience, pointing at everybody, and coming out to Crazy Train.
Awesome.
And I
love that.
And I went up to Toss immediately. I was like, "Toss, is he coming out to Crazy Train?" And he just looked at me and gets this big smile, and you're like, "You're fucking right, he is." And like we're both like sitting there like giggling to one another.
Yeah.
And then also like I worked. I was actually pretty proud of this match. It was at one venue we work up north that has like always 500 people, or whatever. We've only worked it twice. I forget what it's called. It starts with an A or something. But I worked Tiny Tim.
Is that in the... Oh, yeah, in the arena.
Yeah, I worked Tiny.
I forget what it's called too.
I worked Tiny Tim, and I was doing like this little spot. Like Tiny Tim is very inexperienced, so it's a matter of like kind of leading him around or whatever, and like helping him get comfortable and get his experience. And so I kept doing this spot where I'd go to a specific family on the outside, and Toss would just come to me. He's like, "Hey, do it one more time." So I did it, and then he did a super rapid 10 count and almost DQ'd me. I slide back in, and we like had a little moment, and like we were like arguing back and forth, and I just very subtly was like, "Hey, it was a fucking great spot." He's like, "I know, right?" And then like,
I remember.
Go ahead.
Oh, I remember like me and Star had the match against the Spirit Squad. And then, like, I remember,
guys, it was a classic. If you haven't seen this match, please go check it out.
It's fucking awesome. It's one of my favorites. But I remember Shooter looked at the card and he's like, "You're against Spirit Squad today?" And I was just like, "Yeah, man, I'm fucking stoked." He's like, "Oh, all right, I gotta be the fucking ref." So he went and fucking hustled, so he became the ref. And then, like, me and the Spirit Squad, like, incorporated Shooter into all the spots. He's like, "Oh, fuck yeah." And then I saw, like, we did, like, this arm wrestling thing, right? And then they were cheating by holding their hands back, like, their arms back, and then, like, doing the abdominal stretch where you hold each other's hands.
Yeah.
Because, that works for arm wrestling.
Absolutely.
And then, like, the idea was, like, oh, yeah, they release a couple of times, and then Shooter catches them and like kicks their arms apart. Shooter went so fucking hard on that kick. Like, he slapped his leg, he jumped, he did it all, dude.
So good.
It was the best. And that was the thing. Was like, oh man, I love that match so much because I beat fucking Mondo at the arm wrestling. Right, and I did the fucking Ultimate Warrior rope shake, and I remember like both like Kenny and Mondo came back afterwards. They were like, "Oh man, you were on fire."
Dude, they were such cool dudes.
Yeah, they were the best.
Yeah, dude, and
they were amazing.
I've worked Mondo singles like twice, and like I don't think he remembered me that weekend because it had been years since we seen each other, and I look like a very different person than I did when I was younger. But. So the first time I worked him was in Maryland in Bel Air, and it was like a startup company, and like he gave me one hell of like a 20-minute match and really made me look good. In fact, I was doing MMA training for a while, and one of the trainers there was like a big wrestling fan, so he came to watch, and like he came up to me afterwards, super surprised. He was like, "Yeah, I thought this was going to be a little rinky-dink indie show, but like your match was fucking awesome." Like, and he watched like Ring of Honor and stuff like that, and he's like, "That was fucking sick." Like, I was like, "Oh, thanks."
All right.
And then like I did like a before SmackDown tryout match, and Mondo was there. And Mondo was there trying to help out.
I think you've told me about this.
Yeah, he was looking to get hired again. And it sucks that they were just kind of like, "Oh, you can be an extra if you want," because like he deserves more than that. Eventually, he got more than that, but
Yeah.
I was like, hey, Mondo, like, can I work with you? He's like, absolutely. And he pulled me aside. He was like, listen, we could call it now, or you trust me. I'll call it to you in there. I'll make you look like $1,000,000, and they'll be way more impressed that you go immediately and don't have to call anything. I was like, oh,
Yeah.
oh, okay. So he did. He took perfect care of me. He made me look like $1,000,000. He did everything. He made sure to let him know, like, oh yeah, we just kind of called it in there, and like he really he really went to bat for me when he was there to get his job back, and like he is such
Yeah.
a solid dude.
Dude, yeah. Like, both he and Kenny were so nice.
Oh, absolutely.
Because the thing was as well with like how the arm wrestling shit came about in that match was because I had arm wrestled with like Jackson Stone
Yeah,
on Inner
The
Circle
Thursday before.
the Thursday, right? So we were hanging out the Friday at like the hotel bar. I was just hanging out with them, just shooting the shit and everything, right? Shooting the breeze, as they say. But I was just like, yeah, like yesterday we had the show, this and that. I wrestled Jackson Stone, and like we just did like mid match arm wrestling and this and that. And I was just like, yeah, it's just an idea I got from like Rick Rude versus Hogan, right? And they were both like, dude, that's awesome. Like they were like, that's fucking great. And then like when we had to wrestle the next day, they came up to oh no, it was at the hotel bar. I'm getting it mixed up. At the hotel bar, they were like, would you be cool if we did that for our match too? And
Yeah.
I was just like, dude, I'd be all about it. And then like they made a huge production out of it with like bringing it in the table and all of that kind of stuff. So that was all them. So yeah, it
So
was super dope.
I love that match. And I remember low key was like by the merch watching it, and he just got kind of got like a smile on his face, and like he was for it. It seemed like.
Good.
So we're about at the hour mark. So I
Yeah.
believe it is time for those questions. So we'll take 3 questions, unless one of them's real good and we talk about it for half an hour. So if anybody's gonna throw out a couple of those questions, this is the time. We'll
Yeah.
take 3, maybe not the first 3, but the 3 best. If we don't pick yours, don't feel bad. It just wasn't good.
It just sucked
It just
ass.
sucked. And also, before we get into that, since they're all apparently, according to Jenny, getting thirsty on Maine, real quick, remember, I'm going to be doing a bonus stream later tonight, late night, so it might not be the best time for a European audience, but I'm trying to like maybe bring some more American audience into it. And again, the whole purpose of doing an extra stream today, or tonight I should say, is to raise more money for Key and his family and everything that has to do with the Black Lives Matters movement and the Minnesota Freedom Fund and their associated organizations, because they've gotten way too much money. Well, not too much, but they've gotten so much support.
I was about to say, like Minnesota Freedom Fund is actually like people to like donate to other causes.
Yeah, so that's
because like they've hit their goal. and
yeah,
shit,
we're going to be giving the money to the causes that they suggest, and the rest
Yeah.
of Key and his family get them back up and running, because unfortunately their restaurant has been vandalized, and not necessarily by protesters. I want to put that out there, and they're fighting for the cause, and they're not blaming the cause for any of this at all. That like it was just kids who took advantage of the situation and broke their stuff, and that had nothing to do with the cause. So I want to put that out there as well. So and also on the YouTube channel, the May viewer clips highlight reel is up, and it's hella funny. A lot of it is Jurn's reactions, and it's a it's a very good time. It's
Yeah.
about 10 minutes in length. It's our first viewer compilation highlight reel, so please go check that out. And now it looks like we got a couple questions. Let me proofread them before I actually say them out loud.
All right, I got a question for you though, AJ.
Yeah,
Have you seen the Punisher series?
absolutely.
Okay, I'm in it now. It's really good.
It's so good.
Me-
Season 2
me-
doesn't fail either. It's great.
All right, that's dope. Because I'm at like episode 9 of season 1. I'm watching with my dad.
Dude, it's great. It's great. It's so good. And like I'm
Yeah.
hoping that they bring it like so apparently Disney is bringing back the Daredevil series that Netflix did.
Oh fuck yeah!
So I'm hoping that means they'll bring back the Punisher as well.
I hope so too.
Dude, it's so
Fucking
good.
love the Punisher.
It's great. The Daredevil series is really good as well. I didn't watch the like the Revenge or whatever their group is called. I didn't watch that series, but all the Daredevil seasons are really good.
All right, cool.
Hold on. Let me go. Dreamy Daddy asks, at the Crown Twitch, do you guys think I could have made it if I would have introduced my standing Michinoku driver?
I actually saw that one earlier already. Maybe.
That's
Uh,
To be honest, I think you would have made it anyway. But
Yeah,
if you had introduced that sweet standing Michinoku driver, like you'd just be printing money.
dude, like standing Michinoku driver would be a thing I would be so fucking indie over. No, like if you would have like fucking hooked them, like get the one arm over, like right,
Yeah.
and you go standing Michinoku driver, and then you just hit the body slam. Fucking money right there, dude.
Amazing. Um, then of course, let's see. Mofo Matt asks, What are your guys' all-time favorite video game? Yearns is Final
Uh,
Fantasy X.
fuck you. Okay. I think my favorite video game is Titan Quest.
Okay.
So there you go.
Um,
It's like a Diablo clone set in mythology, and considering I'm a big fan of Diablo games and I'm a huge fan of mythology, kind of ticks a bunch of boxes for me. So
I'm gonna go with Metal Gear Solid 4,
okay.
just because it probably isn't the most popular in the series, but it's the one that kind of brought an ending to the saga and the future story of it and everything. And like there was so much fan service in it that was so much fun, and it's still confusing. I still don't fully get it in certain aspects, but still loved it, and it was super super good, and it hit me in all the feels because the Metal Gear Solid series is really what kind of turned me into a more of a quote unquote hardcore gamer when I got two, and then when I went back and played one, and I played three, which was also amazing, and then I was itching for four to come out, and then
The
like
only Metal Gear Solid game I've ever played is Revengeance for like 30 minutes.
it's good. Revengeance is good. It's not even like an official canon entry, but then it was so good when made by another studio that Kojima was like, "Yes, I accept this."
I just think the soundtrack's dope.
Soundtrack is dope.
Yeah.
Uh, Now there was another one. Okay, why'd you
What,
Julian?
what, what,
What? Go
what
ahead.
about the one where you have to give Julian dating advice?
Oh, okay. What was it? What was the actual question?
The question was, can you give out dating advice to Julian?
Well, I mean, you're gonna have to ask a specific question. Like I could, but like I don't know.
Yes, we could.
I'm really like I know. Apparently, you touched it on your stream the other day, and then I responded slash retaliated on mine. But like to be perfectly fair, I think I'm pretty good at giving dating advice. But I think
I don't think
I'm
so.
yeah. I know you don't because you don't know what dating is. But as
I know
far
what
as
dating is. I
yeah,
don't think you do.
I absolutely do. This
Because you've
coming
been with two women and one was out of high school.
No, that's not the case at all.
Oh.
That's not even remotely true. Like
No, but
so,
you're like you're a guy that like clings to to one woman a lot. You know what I mean?
I mean,
So
I would say that
I
in a
don't think you have
sense.
a lot of like varying experience when it comes to dating.
Yeah, no. So
That's all
like,
I'm saying.
and actually, I ended up saying that on my stream. I was like, he does have a point though, because like I've always kind of had a girlfriend since I was left high
Yeah,
school. Although I did date a
that's
little
what I
bit,
mean.
and I said like even when I did date, I was a pretty awkward dude until recently. So like, it is what it is. But I think I'm good at giving dating advice. But as far as taking it and understanding it myself, it does not apply.
Here's my dating advice for Julian.
I feel like
All
there should
right,
be a warning before this.
why? Here's my dating advice for Julian. You got to stop putting the pussy on a pedestal.
Jeez.
Okay, you're building the pussy up like she's this great goddess called Pussalaya. But that's not how it is, dude. You got you got to stop doing that. You look up to it way too much. So that's my advice right there.
Oh, okay. So anyway, let's go to a real question. And it was also by Y2 Julian, and he asked. Let me get back to it. I think it was above this one. Nope, it was a little bit lower. Scrolling, scrolling, scrolling. What is your favorite Dragon Ball Saga from all the franchises? DB, DBZ, DBS, and GT.
Urgh.
I think we're gonna have the same answer.
I'm gonna say Android Cell Saga.
Same.
Yeah.
It's just so complete, and there's so many positive things to it. The story behind it is crazy. Like, it's awesome, and like it's a happy medium where like they're it's like it's I think the last instance where they blow past Super Saiyan where it's kind of acceptable and like this big aura kind of feeling, and then after that when they do it, it's not nearly as big a deal. I feel like.
Here's the thing, like, because a lot of it, like, that goes into my um my opinion of this is like nostalgia and like kind of looking at it critically, right?
Yeah.
Um, so like I never grew up watching OG Dragon Ball. Like
I
I
saw
watched Z first,
same. I saw bits
and
and
then
pieces of Dragon Ball.
yeah, then later I watched Dragon Ball, right? Which I think is super underrated.
Hmm.
Like it's really fucking good. So like for example, like a bunch of like the World Tournament arcs, like the arc against like Tien Shinhan, and then like the Demon King Piccolo arc, like they're all, and the Red Ribbon Army arc, like they're all really fucking good, and like probably better than a bunch of stuff in Z, but it doesn't have the same like nostalgic factor that Z has for me,
Uh-huh.
right? And then for Z, I think Android and Cell Saga is like the most unique,
Yeah.
where it has like the build is like very different than the rest, right? Because the rest is all like, okay, here's like for an evil invader, you know, he's way stronger. We gotta train, you
Yeah.
know, which is what they do in Android Cell Saga as well. But it's always like it's always just fucking there. You know what I mean? In the other sagas. Whereas with Android and Cell Saga, the androids are just like kind of roaming around trying to find Goku, and it's more of like, oh, we got to stick and move to get Goku like different places and try to get him away from the androids. Meanwhile, Cell is in the background of all of this, sticking and moving himself, and is like built up in this like freaky like horror kind of way.
Yeah. Oh man. Like
Which
first off, like it's a really good point because there's a constant danger in this saga. And
yeah,
two, when you first see, I'm sorry, when you first see Cell and he's like absorbing human beings, and like Piccolo lands in the town. Like I remember I watched just the abridged version of an episode of that with like
yeah.
with Kelly, and she was like, "Isn't this like a kid show? Like this scene? Like I think it was her. It was either her or somebody else I watched it with. I want to say it was her, but whoever I watched it with, they reacted like this is kind of like creepy and like kind of has like a horror feel to it. I was like, I know it's
Yeah.
fucking great.
Yeah, because that's the thing, right? Like, what I like about Android Cell Saga is, so like if you go Saiyan Saga and Namek slash Frieza Saga, Saiyan Saga like Raditz is the strongest at first, but like, he lasts for like what 2 episodes, so
Yeah,
it's pretty much right away. It's like okay, Nappa Vegeta, they're fucking strong as shit. You know what I mean? And even then, immediately it gets established Vegeta's the stronger one. So you know, like that's the big danger the entire time. As soon as they get to Namek, they see like Frieza and all his goons fly around. Yeah, they're all strong as shit, but guess what? Gohan and Krillin immediately notice Frieza is by far the fucking strongest.
hmm,
And even like, and like, don't get me wrong, they're both like these are really good sagas as well. But then like it all gets built up really well in the Namek saga as well. I do have to say that because like Vegeta is such a good catalyst in that saga, where it's like, all right, I can take all of Frieza's goons. Don't worry. Then he gets his shit slapped by Zarbon, and transformation gets introduced, right?
yeah.
But then he immediately kills Zarbon. Then Ginyu Force shows up, and he's scared shitless. So Ginyu Force is immediately like built up huge because Vegeta doesn't get scared.
Yeah, like he's
And
such a
then
good catalyst for explaining to you the danger of each individual.
yeah, exactly. And that's the thing of like, well, Ginyu Force served Frieza and would not even think about double crossing him. So just go imagine how fucking strong Frieza is, right? But then with Android and Cell Saga, it gets established like right away, like, oh, androids are coming. They're fucking strong. Well, guess what? First it's Android 19 and 20. They get smoked right away. And Trunk shows up. It's like, no, these aren't the ones. You know? And then it's 17 and 18. Like, yeah, these are ones. But then 16 shows up as well. And like, they don't know. So there's like way more mystery there. And then Cell shows up. And then he's even stronger. And what I like then as well is there's like this continuing like with the Frieza saga is like and the Saiyan saga as well. Vegeta is stronger than everybody on Earth the entire time. Frieza is stronger than everybody in fucking Namek the entire time until Goku turns Super Saiyan. Cell initially is like equal in strength to Piccolo, and then later way stronger. Then he's like mopping the floor with all these dudes, but then he gets trashed by Vegeta and would get trashed by Trunks as well. But then he trashes everybody afterwards. So there's like way more escalation. You know what I mean? So yeah, that's why Cell Saga. I know that was a long time explaining that.
No, but it's a perfect explanation. Also, Julian points out, also Cell versus Super Saiyan 2 Gohan and 17 versus Piccolo are amazing showdowns, and I have to agree.
I have to agree with that as well. Although I do think, like, I do prefer Goku's Super Saiyan transformation over Gohan going Super Saiyan 2. Because I felt like it was more deserved, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
because like
you see Goku like tap into like he gets angry and he gets aggressive and he gets mean, and like that's one of the first times you see that, and he's just straight up like, I'm going to murder you, where you're like, whoa, Goku, Jesus Christ. Like
like one of my favorite scenes of that is like when he turns fucking pissed, right? But but he's like, he just goes like to go and he's like, hey, take Piccolo, get out of here. And then Gohan kind of hesitates and he goes like, Gohan, take Piccolo and get the fuck out of here. Like, he gets super heated and like Gohan's like, holy shit.
Daddy just yelled at me.
Yeah. Whereas like with Gohan, like it gets built up the entire time about like his hidden potential and everything, right? But then it's just like, 16 dies. And that's like the trigger for it. Which still works, don't get me wrong. Like, it's still a great moment.
Yeah.
But it wasn't as good of a moment as the Goku transformation. Where, like, his best friend of the entire fucking series died and got blown up. And, Pop goes the weasel, as Frieza said.
Yeah, and Frieza just makes fun of it. And then when he dies, like a moment or so, like a couple episodes before that, too, because it's the second time he dies, like, he blows him up in front of Goku, but like before that, when he's in his second form, I think he stabs him through the chest with his horn and just shakes him around, like just having fun with it, and you just see the blood everywhere and like draining out of like Krillin onto fucking onto Frieza's head, and like it's just some fucked up shit. Like they really make Frieza so they build him up really well as well.
Yeah, I think like they make Frieza more evil, you know, than Cell. Whereas Cell is evil as well, but it's like in a Frieza is like a psycho, like he's like a tyrant, like a torturer. But Cell is more just like arrogant and vain. Like they're like it's a different kind of evil. Yeah, I mean, because that's the whole thing. Like what I love about Cell is that like there's a bunch of people like he could kill, but he doesn't because he doesn't think it's fun. You know, or it's kind of the same thing as Goku, where Goku lets people live. It's like, I'm like he could be a better person, or
he could learn.
Yeah, it's like, no, Goku, he's been a tyrant for fucking millennia. but like that's the same thing with Cell, where like he could finish off Trunks, and Trunks like just kind of gives up, and he's just like, that's not how I want it, you know?
Yeah, it's pathetic.
Yeah, I gotta become famous. Everybody's gotta see how I destroy these motherfuckers, you know? So I gotta start the Cell games, you know?
Also, Goku, like, letting people live to, like, go be better and stuff like that, like, is super valiant. But then that reminds me, at the end of Dragon Ball Super, like, Frieza shows back up, they know where he is, and then, like, they just let him go. And I'm kind of like, you know, he's like back to being like a tyrant all over the universe, right? Like he's still a bad dude doing horrible things. Like maybe you should finish him off. And then the next scene, Frieza's angry going through the galaxy, and they're just blowing up shit that they're passing by because he's just so pissed off. I'm like, by letting him go, you just cost hundreds of thousands of lives. Like, why didn't you just stop him again?
That's what I love about because you're talking about the ending of Dragon Ball Super Broly, right?
Yeah.
But that's what I love about the beginning of Dragon Ball Super Broly as well. Well, like Vegeta's just pissed at Goku because he's just like, "You brought back fucking Frieza, you idiot!"
Yeah.
Like, don't you know how horrible of a person he is? And he's like, because like he matched our strength by training like a couple of months last time. He's like, "Oh, you really think he's gonna hold a grudge?" Yes.
Yes. Absolutely. That movie's so good and it's so well built up, and the world building they do in the beginning to make certain things canon and how they set everything up. Although I told you about this one right after I watched it. The one thing that did get me though was like, man, this super civilized planet, and their soldiers are living in mud huts. It's great.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, they're warriors, dude. They don't give a fuck about their houses.
Apparently. But yeah, so we're at that point. We answered those 3 questions. Thank you everybody for joining us this week. Thank you, Jurn, of course, for being here. Real quick, we're not going to be doing co-op streams this weekend. Jurn's schedule super busy, doesn't allow for it.
I have to work.
Yeah. So time-wise, it doesn't work out. Like it's a little hard too, considering we're 6 hours apart in time.
Yeah.
And we want Jurn to get plenty of rest and be a big, strong, rested boy. We'll continue possibly with that next week. I will be doing streams this weekend, and of course I'll be doing a stream later tonight as well, later in the evening around like 6 or 7 o'clock my time. Don't know what I'll be streaming yet, but again, all the streams this weekend are to raise charity for Key and different Black Lives Matters organizations and movements associated with the Minnesota Freedom Fund. So we're trying to raise as much money as possible. So far, we've raised $375 but I want to get much more than that. So I'm going to be stripping my ass off this weekend. So let's get after it.
I thought you said stripping your ass off, but then I realized streaming your ass off.
Think I won't strip?
I think like legally you can't because Twitch will ban you.
Oh yeah, I was about to say Twitch won't allow that. They don't want a piece out of this ass.
Yeah.
So yeah, you have anything you got to say?
Not really, dude.
All right. Hell yeah. All right, guys. And also on the YouTube channel, the May viewer highlight reel is up. I'll post a link to it later. Or if you haven't subscribed to the YouTube channel already, just go to The Crown Gaming on YouTube or follow the link on my Twitch channel that has YouTube on it. And go ahead and subscribe. Again, if you have a Gmail account or any email account, it's free to subscribe. You just click a button and you just get alerted of when my videos go up. And the stream highlights one is really fun. So check that out.
Oh, dude, you know what you gotta see? Because I keep telling you about Funhouse.
Yeah.
They have one of their shows is called Google Trends,
Okay.
or like the Google Trend show. But what they basically do is like they have like a host, and one of them gives like a term, and then like they have 2 teams, and the 2 teams have to put up like another term to see like which one is trending the most.
Yeah.
Right? So one time they have like the term is Gmail, and they come up with these different terms, and then like one of the contestants says like, what about Gmail emails? And they all go like, nobody would fucking search that, right? So they don't put it in, and then later like when debating over the answers and stuff, like when it's all like said and done, they go like, yeah, try Gmail emails, and it's by far like the top answer. It's like, who the fuck searches for Gmail emails? Apparently fucking everybody.
Oh god.
But yeah, you should watch that, dude.
Yeah, Funhouse is a fun one. I have to catch more of their stuff. But anyway, thank you everybody for joining this week. This will be up, of course, on the YouTube next Thursday. This will be available on the Twitch channel for about another couple hours. Then I take it down, and then it goes to the YouTube. So you can always check out the previous week's episode before we go live with the Thursday before. So do that. Then hit like, make a comment, help my algorithm. Let's get YouTube famous, everybody.
Algorithm? Did you get that one from More Placement?
Oh no, that's just a term. This is just a social media term. I've known the term algorithm and all that kind of stuff and was affected by it for years because of like different YouTube YouTube's creators I watched and stuff like that who are always like, hey guys, remember spreading the word really helps because YouTube's algorithm is fucked now because they'd rather promote people like Will Smith and stuff. I was like,
I mean, like, why wouldn't you want to promote Will Smith? You know, what's he ever done wrong?
Oh yeah, I mean, well, like that's just an example. But
yeah.
Anyway, all right, let's wrap this up. Thank you, everybody.
Yes, thank you.